I have been married to Ronald Fields II for 13 and a half years. We are home educators of 4 wonderful children. I have 2 girls, 22 and 3, and 2 boys, 12 and 9. My husband and I are both born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I spent 33 years there before I came to move to Chicago, Illinois, 7.5 years ago to expand our evangelistic work. We serve as the overseers and pastors of our 4 ministries and publication in Chicago. I am also the founder of Christian Home Educator, which is a homeschool academy, and Christian Home Support System, which is our support group. These are evangelistic outreach ministries to serve and support the families of the city of Chicago and surrounding communities. We provide assistance, resources about home education, cooperative educational and recreational resources, curriculum and parental rights issues, and much more. Our mission is to empower parents to take back the responsibility of educating their children.
All right, everyone, the place where truth doesn't whisper, it roars. Today, we're spotlighting a moment the mainstream media wouldn't touch, a Chicago pastor who, with calm authority, completely dismantled Ilhan Omar's narratives about poverty, faith, and government dependency. With one word, responsibility, she turned Omar's ideology on its head, showing that personal accountability, not political handouts or pity, is what drives real transformation. While Omar preached victimhood and pointed fingers, this pastor's testimony cut through the noise with lived experience, unwavering faith, and resilience forged in the real world, leaving the room stunned, inspired, and reminded that courage and commitment can achieve what politics alone never will.
I am also the state coordinator of parentalrights.org, a volunteer of Junior Achievement of Chicago, and a member of Cure Clergy Network. I also have over 19 years of entrepreneurial experience, with 14 of those years being consecrated in the real estate industry and several certifications in property management and nonprofit housing. I am also a recent graduate of Trinity Christian College in Palo Heights, Illinois, with a bachelor's degree in business administration with a 4.0 GPA. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey, which is nothing short of the grace of God towards me. My grandmother, who raised me, also raised 9 kids of her own, was a homeowner living in a poor Black drug-infested community in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She raised me and my younger sister. My mom was a teenage mom on drugs and
Her name is Fields, a woman who entered Congress not as a career politician, but as living proof that faith, hard work, and personal accountability forge stronger, more resilient communities than any government check ever could. With calm authority and unwavering conviction, she introduced herself as a wife, a mother of 4, and a home educator devoted to serving families in Chicago. Each word carried a quiet power that Ilhan Omar's rehearsed outrage could never match. While Omar speaks in theory and ideology, Fields embodies lived reality, guiding families through education, housing, and community support with hands-on leadership, showing that true change stems not from entitlement programs or political posturing, but from dedication, responsibility, and the refusal to wait for permission from the system.
My grandmother was a strong woman, hardworking woman. She showed tough love and had amazing independent work ethics. So I basically grew up in the typical Black stigma community surrounding me. The lack of motivation for education, promiscuous behavior, drugs, crime, and some on welfare. In spite of the circumstances that surrounded my childhood, I was one that often fought against the odds. I had a love for education. I never did drugs and I never committed a crime. But however, I did fall into promiscuous behavior. And at the age of 17, I became a teenage mom. This was the turning point of my life. I will never forget the day that I found that I was pregnant. I went into a Planned Parenthood in my neighborhood. I was devastated, I was frightened, and
She wasn't born into privilege. Raised in Louisiana by her grandmother, a fierce, hard-working woman navigating a community ravaged by drugs and despair, she saw firsthand the struggles that Ilhan Omar often romanticizes as the so-called cycle of oppression. Yet unlike Omar, she never leaned on excuses or rhetoric. She fought back, refusing to let crime, hopelessness, or systemic neglect define her path. With no shortcuts and no safety nets, she clung to her dreams and dignity, building a life rooted in grit, faith, and relentless effort. While Omar points fingers at policy and circumstance, this pastor took responsibility only for her own choices, and still rose, turning her life into a living, undeniable refutation of the dependency narrative Omar champions, proving that resilience, discipline, and personal accountability can triumph over even the harshest conditions.
I was one of those kids that excelled in school, was popular in school, played sports, was on the homecoming court. You name it, I was in it. So basically, I kept myself from the normalized behaviors that plagued the Black community. So becoming pregnant was embarrassing to me. I didn't want to be like the rest. I had always strived to be better. I didn't want to be like the social norm. I didn't want to be another statistic. I didn't want to be the 72% of moms raising a child single. So while waiting for the results of my pregnancy test, I was crying. I was thinking how I had ruined my life.
Came a defining moment in her life. At 17, pregnant, terrified, and standing inside a Planned Parenthood clinic, she was offered what many would call an easy out, an abortion. But her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind, *, you make your bed hard, you lie in it. *, in that instant, she made a choice that would set her apart from a culture of convenience and blame. She chose life, responsibility, and the difficult path of accountability over the allure of regret and the shortcut of surrender. Unlike Ilhan Omar's politics, where blame is treated like currency and victimhood a career, this pastor didn't just reject that worldview, she demolished it with a single decisive act. She committed to raising her child, finishing her education, and forging a life without ever asking the government to rescue her, proving that courage, conviction, and personal responsibility can achieve what politics never will.
First came back in the room and she told me that I was 3 weeks pregnant, and she consoled me that I had another choice. I had a choice to abort my baby. In that very moment, my life flashed before my eyes because I had a big decision to make. Do I get rid of my baby and proceed as normal, as though nothing happened, and go back to my family and friends and continue to live out my life? Or do I live the rest of my life knowing I had killed my baby? Do I keep my baby and face the challenges that lie ahead of me and press past the shame, the regret, and the disappointment? I chose the latter.
By the age of 18, she had already accomplished what most only dream of, a home of her own. Let that sink in, a teenage mother, growing up in a broken community, securing a place to call her own long before many politicians, including Ilhan Omar, had faced the weight of a real-world bill. She juggled grueling shifts at Burger King with late-night studying, never surrendering her dignity or pride to welfare. Even when she briefly relied on food stamps, the experience left her bitter at the humiliation and dependency it imposed. Just 2 years later, she walked away from it all with a vow never to let the system define her or her family, embodying the quiet, unacknowledged strength that Omar seems to overlook, the power of individuals who rise, build, and create without waiting for permission or handouts.
I chose to do what I will always hear my grandmother say: you make your bed hard, you lie in it. Those words rang loud and clear in my heart and mind. Yes, we did this. No one else is responsible for the choice we made. I must take responsibility for my actions and live with it. Live the best possible life I can. Give my child the best possible life I can. Finish high school, go to college, and make something of myself. I decided, in spite of my teenage pregnancy, that I will continue to press past the popularized social norms of the Black community. I worked hard. I graduated from high school 5 months pregnant. During my teenage years, I worked at Burger King.
Her journey didn't stop there. From serving behind a fast food counter to stepping into a bustling real estate office, from working as a secretary to earning her license as an agent, she built every success through relentless grit and determination, proving that hard work and perseverance can turn struggle into impact. By her mid-20s, she was not only raising her child but also earning degrees and inspiring countless others to follow a path of self-reliance and ambition. In 2004, a profound turning point arrived when faith ignited her purpose. She gave her life to Christ and soon married a man who shared her drive, discipline, and vision. Together, they began mentoring families, not through government handouts or entitlement programs, but through genuine empowerment and personal investment. While Ilhan Omar advocates for redistribution and dependence, this family embodied restoration and hope, transforming lives one classroom, one home, and one person at a time, demonstrating that true change comes from dedication, faith, and a steadfast commitment to uplift others.
I was a part of an entrepreneurial program that we had. I worked there throughout my high school years from 15 till I graduated, but I was a mom, so I had to continue working at Burger King to provide for myself and my baby. I lived with my grandmother for several months after I had her, and she encouraged me to get on food stamps, to receive WIC, and to receive child care assistance. During this time, she also helped me to get my first apartment. After about 9 months of renting, the real estate company asked me did I want to buy a house. I was shocked. I was excited. I went through the first time home buyers program.
By 2006, she took an even bolder step, withdrawing her daughter from public school to personally educate her, a decision that quickly grew into a full-fledged homeschool academy, empowering countless families to reclaim their children's education from institutions that too often fail them. Every choice she made became a quiet yet powerful rebuttal to Ilhan Omar's political rhetoric, contrasting Omar's insistence that government must step in to raise and rescue with Field's unwavering belief that parents must lead, nurture, and instill faith. This was more than a clash of opinions, it was ideology versus reality, speeches versus scars, dependency versus destiny. It vividly demonstrated that real change is forged not through mandates or lectures, but through hands-on commitment, relentless courage, and a refusal to accept the limitations imposed by broken systems.
I purchased a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house at 18 years old. After 2 years of being on food stamps, I found myself increasingly growing to hate the program. I felt awful while I was on the program. It was such a level of disrespect and deprivation. I couldn't take it any longer. I removed myself from the food stamp program, but however, due to me working and going to college, I had to remain on child care assistance. After having my baby in 1996, buying my home in 1997, the same real estate company offered me a job. I became a secretary, later a rental assistant manager, and later in December 2005, I became a licensed real estate agent.
By the age of 18, I had purchased a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. After 2 years on food stamps, I grew increasingly resentful of the program. It felt demeaning and humiliating, and I couldn't take it any longer. I removed myself from food stamps, though I remained on childcare assistance while balancing work and college. After having my baby in 1996 and buying my home in 1997, the same real estate company that helped me offered me a job. I started as a secretary, progressed to rental assistant manager, and by December 2005, I became a licensed real estate agent.
Took her out of the public education in the 4th grade, and I wanted to give her a Christian education by homeschooling her. So we did. My husband and I did not know what that would entail, but we obeyed God. Later, in 2007, we opened up a Christian homeschool academy as an extension of our evangelistic work. My husband and I are now homeowners in Chicago, Illinois for the last 3 years. My husband is the owner of his own barbershop in the South Shore community in Chicago for the last 5 years, and we are continuing our ministerial work with our Christian school and our co-op group to support the families in the city of Chicago.
And that's precisely why her testimony resonated so profoundly in Congress, leaving an impact that charts, partisan applause, or rehearsed speeches could never replicate. She didn't rely on flashy visuals or political theater. She presented lived experience, tangible results, and a story so compelling the media would rather ignore it. While Ilhan Omar lectures the nation on its shortcomings, this pastor quietly rebuilt a drug-ravaged neighborhood into a beacon of hope and resilience, and carried that same determination into the halls of power. In just 6 minutes of unfiltered honesty, she reminded the country, Omar included, that the American dream isn't granted through politicians or entitlement programs. It's forged through unwavering faith, steadfast family bonds, personal responsibility, and an unbreakable resolve that no adversity can diminish.